we struggle to get stops at times, but also like the clock getting messed up. Like, it was just one thing after the next, but yeah, overall, like, it didn't bother me.
Picture this: Caitlyn Clark, the assist queen and rookie scoring champ, watching helplessly as her team gets outscored by double digits in the third quarter. It's not just a bad dream, it's what actually happened in the Fever's playoff meltdown. So what now? Let's talk about that disaster against the Connecticut Sun. The Fever showed up like they forgot how to play basketball. You know what's crazy? This was their first playoff game since 2016, and they blew it big time. They were shooting threes like they were trying to miss. Only 6 out of 28. That's insane. So what does this mean for the Fever? Are they done for? Hold up, because we're about to break down everything that went wrong and how they can turn this mess around. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. We're talking game-changing stuff that could make or break their future, ready to see if the Fever can rise from the ashes or if they're toast. Let's dive in.
I don't think it affected me. Honestly, I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. Like, I got some really good looks. I felt I had three wide open threes in the first half. Better than I usually do, which is a positive, but overall, like, Coach said in the locker room, like, we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. Like,
let's dive into the heart of the Fever's meltdown. Remember Caitlyn Clark's record-breaking regular season? Well, in this playoff game, she looked like a completely different player. What caused the rookie sensation to crumble under pressure? Caitlyn Clark, the assist queen and rookie scoring champ, had been lighting up the scoreboard all season, but when it mattered most, she went colder than a snowman in Alaska. We're talking 2 for 13 from downtown. That's not just bad, that's did someone replace her basketball with a brick? Bad? You're probably wondering, how does someone go from breaking records to breaking hearts in one game? Well, it's like Clark forgot everything that made her amazing during the regular season. She was settling for jump shots like they were going out of style instead of driving to the hoop and making things happen. And get this, Clark even admitted it herself. She said, "I felt I settled too much for my jump shot. I felt I got bumped. I was shot faking to get them to foul me." That's like a chef saying they forgot how to use salt. It's the basics, people. But here's the thing that's got everyone scratching their heads. Why wasn't Clark more involved when the Fever needed her most? It's like having a Ferrari in your garage and deciding to ride a tricycle instead. Fans and analysts were losing their minds, wondering why the team's superstar was left watching from the sidelines during crucial moments. Now, let's not forget that Clark's rookie season was still out of this world.
I think, they were going to make adjustments. They were going to change up their schemes. They were going to change the matchups. We had talked about getting back the matchups that we wanted, that we thought would be helpful for us.
She averaged 19.5 points, 6 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. That's not just good, that's, are you sure she's human? Good. But in the playoffs, it's like all that magic disappeared faster than a magician's rabbit. So what gives? Is it just rookie jitters? Or is there something bigger going on here? Because let's be real, when your star player goes from supernova to black hole, it's usually not just about one person. Think about it. Clark's struggles might be a symptom of a bigger problem. Maybe the Fever's game plan fell apart under pressure, or maybe the Sun figured out how to shut down their biggest threat. Whatever it is, it's clear that Clark and the Fever need to figure out how to adapt when the heat is on. Clark's struggles were just a small part of a much bigger disaster. The Fever didn't just lose, they imploded in spectacular fashion. What went so catastrophically wrong that turned a playoff game into a total embarrassment? Let's talk about that three-point shooting. The Fever were chucking up bricks like they were trying to build a house. Only 6 out of 28 attempts?
I agree with what Caitlyn just said. We scored 69 points, and when we go back and watch this, I didn't really say much because I want to go back and watch and just kind of see. But I think we just, these guys are going to shoot the ball a lot better on Wednesday.
We didn't shoot the ball like we're capable of, but even that to the side, like we're capable of winning this game without.
That's not just bad, that's historically awful. Meanwhile, the Sun were raining threes like it was nothing, hitting 50% of their shots from downtown. It's like the two teams were playing different sports. But wait, it gets worse. The third quarter? More like the third degree of pain for Fever fans. The Sun outscored them 29-12, creating a hole so deep you'd need a ladder to climb out. It's like the Fever forgot they were in a playoff game and decided to take a nap instead. Now, I know what you're thinking. Was there anything good about this game for the Fever? Well, hold on to your hats, because there was one bright spot in this dumpster fire of a game. Lexi Hull came to play, hustling her heart out and grabbing 6 rebounds by halftime. It's like she was the only one who remembered this was a do-or-die situation. But one player's hustle can't make up for an entire team sleep walking through a playoff game. The Fever looked slower than molasses in January, especially in the first half.
Frustrating as a shooter, like when it feels so good, but it won't go down for you. That's what sucks about it, but like I said, I'm proud of our team. I think it went into, they're up maybe by 11 going into the fourth, so, and could never really claw back into it really to give ourselves a chance. Like I said, like we were down 8 or something, maybe 11 going into the fourth. Like we had our chances. Like I felt like I said, we didn't play well. Like we didn't play to the level that we're capable of playing.
It's like they left their energy and focus back in the locker room. You know what's really mind-boggling? The Fever's complete inability to adapt. When things started going south, they just kept doing the same thing over and over again. It's like watching someone repeatedly walk into a glass door expecting a different result each time. This game exposed the Fever's biggest weakness. They crumble under pressure. When the sun started heating up, the Fever melted faster than an ice cream cone in July. They couldn't make shots, couldn't stop the Sun's runs, and couldn't even look like they wanted to be there. So what does all this mean for the Fever? Are they doomed to repeat this disaster? Or can they turn things around? The Fever's meltdown wasn't just about player performance. What if the real problem was happening on the sidelines? Head coach Christy Sides made some decisions that left fans scratching their heads. Let's talk about what went down on the bench during this disaster of a game. You know how they say a team is only as good as its coach? Well, Christy Sides is taking some serious heat for how she handled this playoff game. It's like she forgot she had a timeout button or something. The Sun were on fire, making runs left and right, and Sides just stood there watching her team burn. No timeouts, no adjustments, nothing. It's like trying to put out a house fire with a water gun. But wait, it gets worse. Remember Caitlyn Clark, the rookie sensation we were all hyped about? Sides basically turned her into a spectator in the final minutes. I mean, come on, you've got one of the best scorers in the league, and you're not even running plays for her when the game is on the line. That's like having a Ferrari and using it to deliver pizza. Fans were losing their minds, and can you blame them? They're watching their star player, the one who's been lighting up scoreboards all season, just standing around while the team is desperate for points. It's like Sides forgot she had a secret weapon on her team. Here's the kicker. Clark didn't even touch the ball during some of the most crucial possessions late in the game. You heard that right? The player who's been carrying the team all season might as well have been sitting in the stands. It's not just bad coaching. It's like Sides was actively trying to lose the game. Now, I'm not saying Sides is a bad coach overall, but in this game, she made more mistakes than a kid learning to ride a bike for the first time. Her offensive strategy was about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. It's like she drew up plays on a napkin during lunch and hoped for the best. You want to know the craziest part? This isn't just about one bad game. These coaching decisions could be the key to unlocking the Fever's potential. Think about it. If Sides can figure out how to use her timeouts effectively, if she can create plays that actually use Clark's talents, if she can adapt when things aren't going well, this team could be dangerous. But right now, the Fever are like a sports car with a learner driver behind the wheel. All that potential, all that talent, and they're stalling at every turn. Sides needs to step up her game, or the Fever's playoff dreams are going to go up in smoke faster than you can say bad coaching. Now, imagine this. The Fever, instead of crashing and burning, suddenly start playing like a well-oiled machine. Clark's lighting up the scoreboard, teammates are in perfect sync, and Coach Sides is calling plays like a chess grandmaster. Sounds impossible after that mess of a game, right? Wrong. The Fever could turn this whole disaster around with just a few smart moves. First up, let's talk about on-court chemistry. It's like the Fever were playing a game of keep away from Clark in that playoff disaster. What they need are some slick plays to get her open looks. Picture this: screens, cuts, and maybe even some sneaky misdirection to create space. It's not rocket science, but it could be the difference between Clark chucking up bricks and raining threes. But here's the kicker: it's not just about Clark. The whole team needs to get in on the action. When those threes aren't falling, you gotta switch it up. Attack the basket, draw some fouls, get to the free throw line. It's basketball 101, but sometimes you've got to go back to basics to move forward. Now let's talk about Coach Sides. She was about as useful as a chocolate teapot in that playoff game. But here's the thing: she's got the power to turn this ship around. Timeouts aren't just for TV commercials, coach. Use them to stop those momentum-killing runs. And how about a game plan that can actually adapt when things go south? It's like having a GPS that recalculates when you take a wrong turn. Essential when you're lost in the playoffs. You know what's crazy? These aren't even big changes. We're not talking about reinventing the wheel here. It's all about using what you've got in smarter ways. Clark's got the talent, the team's got the potential, and Sides, she's got a lot to learn, but she's got the clipboard. Think about what this could mean for the Fever. They wouldn't just be making the playoffs, they'd be striking fear into the hearts of every team they face. Imagine Clark not just putting up Rookie of the Year numbers, but leading her team deep into the playoffs. That's the kind of story that turns casual fans into die-hard supporters. But here's the real question: can they pull it off? It's one thing to talk about changes, it's another to actually make them happen on the court. The Fever have got to shake off that playoff nightmare and come back stronger. They've got to play like every game is their last, because in the playoffs, it could be. You want to know the wildest part? All of this is totally doable. The Fever have got a young core with tons of potential. Clark and Aliyah Boston aren't just rookies, they're the future of the WNBA. If they can figure out how to play together, how to complement each other's strengths, they could be unstoppable. Alright, let's wrap this up. The Fever just got schooled in their playoff debut, but it's not game over yet. They've got a young squad with some serious potential. Caitlyn Clark and Aliyah Boston? Those two are like basketball gold. Sure, they stumbled, but that's how you learn to fly. Think about it. This was their first playoff game since 2016. That's huge. They've already come so far. Now they've just got to shake off this loss and come back swinging. It's all about learning from those mistakes and turning them into wins. Here's the deal: the Fever's story isn't over. It's just getting started. Will they rise from the ashes or flame out? Keep your eyes on their next game, because that's where we'll see if they've learned their lesson or if it's back to the drawing board. This team's got the talent. Now they just need to bring the fire.